Hello aspirants, welcome back to Believers as Academy. In today's video, we will be discussing a very important issue. In fact, why I'm saying this is an issue is because this is the problem which is kind of haunting almost majority of the aspirants who are currently in their +2 and who have already completed their intermediate and who are already in the graduation. So it is addressing a very huge humongous population, humongous part of the UPSC crowd, which are also the most important sections of the particular preparation. Why? Because this examination, generally, if we have to talk about how one should start their preparation, the preparation or the strategy to start the examination starts from the point where you decide when you should actually start your preparation. And always starting early will give you a head start compared to other aspirants. And the question pertaining to majority of the aspirants who are currently doing, or let's say past intermediate, or people who are pursuing their graduation is, when exactly should I start? When exactly, if I start, will I get that head start that I'm going to talk about in this examination, or what is mostly prevalent in this UPSC, let's say fraternity or UPSC community, that getting a head start, when should we start? Right? So this particular video is for those students who have currently finished their graduation, or let's say intermediate, and also for those students who are also pursuing their graduation, whether if starting the preparation at this particular point of time is the right decision or not. So in this particular video, we'll be discussing about the roadmap for the students who are either pursuing their graduation or who have just qualified their +2. So before that, very important, let's try and understand about that one khadwa such about this preparation, that preparing for civil services or the UPSC examination right after 12th standard, of course, it gives you an head start. It is always better, but it is not for everyone. You have to keep this in mind. But for the right student, it can be a massive advantage, right? So what are these 2 points referring to? It means that there are few category of the students who, if so prepare properly and most let's say dedicatedly, this can be a huge advantage in their let's say preparation journey. And also this cannot be right for those students who are not cut out for this, right? And it cannot be an advantage for a particular sections of the students, and that is very important to figure out in the first place. So just because your parents are telling you that I want to perceive, or let's say my kid wants to become an IAS officer, or maybe your father wants you to see as an IPS officer or an IAS officer, doesn't mean you should have, you should also prepare, right? So these are some of the important things which you have to keep in mind even before you start your preparation, because this examination is not just about preparing for 6 months and then the very 7th month you get the examination and then you start your preparation. It doesn't go like that. The examination altogether runs for about 1.5 years. In fact, the preparation goes for more than 18 months. You have to study for more than 18 months. And the exam process itself runs for about 1 year. And if everything falls in place, even though if you have to clear in your very first attempt, I am talking about 2 to 3 years of commitment. 2 to 3 years of commitment, because 18 to 20 months of preparation, and then 1.5 years of your examination process, and then finally when the results come out, right? If let's say you did not clear, add another 1.5 years. So I'm talking about a long and a lengthy journey. So you have to start your preparation if you already have an innate interest towards some of the important core subjects that you are going to be studying in UPSC, which is polity, history, and economy. Like, you should have some interest at least to study about Indian polity, or at least have some interest about polity. So polity doesn't essentially mean Indian politics. We're not talking about politics here. It's about the constitution, to study about the India's constitution, your rights, your duties, right? And how the constitution of the country is protecting the citizens' rights in the country, right? And also with fair bit of interest with respect to the history of India, right? And also if you have some keen interest towards the economy of India, right? If you care what's happening, or if you care what is the GDP of the India's, let's say, what is the India's GDP, what is US's GDP, right? Or let's say, how is India performing in various other aspects in various sectoral terms, right? So those kind of interests, if you already have, and yes, it's one of the green flag which can give you an idea that yes, I can start my preparation. Next is, are you ready for a long-term consistency of roughly about 4 to 5 years? Because I think we discussed this just a while back, right? Because this examination is not something that can happen within just 1 year of your preparation. Impossible. It is impossible to just prepare and clear the examination within just 1 year, because preparation itself, as I already mentioned, it takes 18 to 20 months of preparation for any aspirant to keep or to make themselves at par with the actual competition. Because keep in mind, fellow aspirants, keep in mind, my dear students, you are not going to be preparing amongst the students, or let's say amongst the competition of your own caliber, because we are talking about you preparing, or let's say competing alongside that particular person who might have given 4 interviews already, person might have written 2 mains before, and let's say even you're going to be preparing alongside someone who's already an IRS officer, someone who is already an IPS. People will be selected, and now in order to correct their attempt, they will be writing this examination alongside you. So this examination makes it even more difficult with these kind of things, which adds on once you get into this preparation journey. So if you are someone who is having a future thought, right, and who is ready for a long-term consistency of at least 4 to 5 years, then yes. And also, you need to be someone who can balance your graduation and your preparation simultaneously, because that is also very important. Because the last and final stage in your examination, especially the interview is about your personality. And trust me when I say this, you will have questions in your interview, especially from your graduation subjects as well. Okay, and if you are really good in your graduation, maybe you can even opt that graduation subject, or that particular discipline, whichever discipline you are doing your graduation, you can take that subject as your optional paper in the examination as well. But yes, of course, this is a long march. There are a lot of ways how you have to select an optional paper. But just saying, if your graduation, if you know how to balance your graduation alongside your preparation, and this is one of the most important aspect in any aspirant who is preparing or who is planning to prepare for civil services, alongside graduation, he or she should be able to manage these both things simultaneously. So these are the 3 important aspects for you people if you are planning to prepare for the civil services alongside the graduation. And if you can manage these 3 things, yes, you can comfortably do it. Now let's come to those category which probably should not think of UPSC. And the first is someone who is really not sure about what they are doing or what they will do in the near future. Someone who is still hovering or exploring other career options. Someone who is very much confused. And I'm totally in a point to understand that majority, in fact 99% of the students right now, especially after 12th, you're all in a huge dilemma. What are we supposed to do? I mean, what are we supposed to do? What are we going to be taking in this, let's say, next 3 years or 4 years as a part of my graduation? Because of the present advancement, the AI, the job culture is completely changing. The jobs are going to be, changing in the next few years to come, right? So, of course, it's a huge thing, huge decision. And I totally understand more than 90% of the students, especially the aspirants after 12th, are here in this particular place where they are still trying to explore the career options. What am I going to do? But still, if you are someone who is not firm in your decisions, who, let's say, hovers here and there based on the influences that you get, please, I would say that it is better that you just kind of wait until your graduation is complete. But those student who is already prefixed, already is made up their mind that I am going to become an IAS officer no matter what, rather you definitely will stick to humanities. Like, let's say you would probably do BA in HEGP or whatever that matter. And I think I'm talking about those students with respect to the other students who are still exploring their career options and what to do, what not to do. So if you're that kind of category, I mean, if you fall under that kind of category, it's better you pick up any graduation, you take any graduation, complete it and then probably do it, or let's say give yourself some time. Maybe after 1 year, see how the graduation is going. If you can manage your time, subjects, everything simultaneously, then maybe after that you can just plan. If not, just wait until the graduation is done, then you can do. But of course, you will not be getting that head start, fair as, as simple as that. Now coming to the next point, want quick results or early earning. Those aspirants who wants results then and there. We've discussed all this already. This is not like a graduation, or this is not like any simple board examinations where you just prepare for 6 months or 7 months and then you can get 99%, 99.9%. It is impossible in this examination. And if you are someone in that particular category who thinks that you have been an exceptional student all the while from your let's say high school, your from your primary, high school, and all the way to 10th and 12th, you've been getting very good scores, 99.9 and all of those things, and you think UPSC in my very first attempt I can do it. I'm telling you, UPSC has its own way how it will humble those kind of students. So yes, that is one thing that you have to keep in mind. So those students, slightly you have to overlook on what you have thought. Doesn't mean I'm discouraging those students. It only means that you have to change how you have to approach this examination. And what are the changes? I've already discussed in the first 3 points. So these are the things. And third one, not comfortable with reading and analysis. This is very important thing, because here I'm not talking about your 4 to 5 years of commitment. 4 to 5 years of commitment is absolutely required to you to give a consistent attempt, or to you to give a consistent preparation, alongside making sure that you're also comfortable sitting for 6 to 8 hours on a daily basis, where you're supposed to read and also analyze yourself, which is also one of the important aspect in this preparation, which if you do not do, and if you are not cut out to do any of these things, like let's say it is going to be very difficult for you people to start your preparation soon after your 12th. So for these students, I would feel that it's better that you first build the rapport in terms of getting all of these things right. Maybe it could start from sitting for like let's say 6 hours, or let's say at least 2 hours after your college. Just try and sit and study and see how well can you sit and focus, and then slowly try to make sure you just tick all of these 3 options. And then once you feel yes, now I'm mentally prepared, it's not being physically fit, at least you have to be mentally prepared to start your UPSC preparation. And that if you're ready, then I think it is probably something that you can think of, because UPSC is a marathon and not a sprint. So it is not a 100-meter race. UPSC is not a 100-meter race where you can see the finish line, you can run and finish probably in within 10 seconds or within 12 seconds or whatever that matter. But rather it is a marathon which more often talks about your consistency, your stamina. Your stamina, your consistency of your practice, and stamina with respect how much you have developed because of this entire process of training yourself as an aspirant. What matters, or what guarantees success in this examination. So I think now it is very clear what are the things that really matters for any aspirant who wants to start early, right? So next up, we will talk about the advantages. So why start early? There are 3 important things, right? First is same subjects as graduation. So basically this I am talking in terms of those aspirants who are going to be taking Bachelor of Arts, or let's say Bachelor of Humanities, or let's say the humanities subjects in their graduation, pretty much having the subjects like polity, history, economy, sociology, or even for that matter PSIR, right? I'm talking about these kind of students. If they happen to select humanities as their graduation subject, the subjects that they will be studying will be same as their graduation as well. The subjects that they will be studying in the examination will be same as their graduation as well. And also, they get more time to understand the concept, because alongside doing their graduation, if they are preparing, it's already that the aspirant is getting 3 years of buffer in hand. It's like they're starting their preparation 3 years earlier, because ultimately when can the aspirant give his first attempt? He or she should turn 21, and 21 is also that particular age when most of the students also graduate after their +2. So you already finish let's say your 12th in let's say 18 years old, and now you get roughly about 3 to 4 years priorly kind of a head start, where you can also delve mostly into the topics, try to understand the topics really well, and hence what will happen, it will create very less pressure on you as compared to anyone who is starting later after their graduation. So my question, which was in the very initial sites about when to start the preparation, is it right to start after 12th? The answer is pretty much yes. You have to start and you can start, but then there are three important aspects which I just discussed in the previous slide. That is also important. So it not only helps you build the concepts better, but also creates very less pressure because you are already starting prior, 3 years prior than most of the competition, and that gives you a head start, which matters really in this examination. And then there are few more advantages as well. So the first is, you will have a strong foundation advantage in some of the core areas like polity, economy, history, geography. Because see, UPSC examination, if you know the syllabus, I can divide the entire syllabus into 3 different categories. So one is that part of the syllabus which is called as the core part. Next we have the current affairs, and then we have something called as the mains exclusives. So in the core we have your polity, we have history, we have economy, we have geography, and then we have environment and ecology, right? These are the 5 important core papers. So now why do we call them core papers? Because these are those papers which comes both in prelims and also in the main stage of the examination. And which are those papers which comes only in the mains? Here we have the optional subject, and then we have the essay paper, plus we have few more subjects apart from the core papers, but are also complementary to these core papers. For example, we have polity. So here we have governance, right? We'll have social justice, we have society, there is internal security challenges, there is disaster management, and also one most important paper, ethics. So these are the mains exclusives, means these are those papers which comes only in the mains examination. And then we have the current affairs. Current affairs pretty much talks about the daily happenings in the daily happenings at the national level, even at the state level, right? All of those things, especially the newspaper. Simply to say, if anybody wants to have an idea about what the current affairs is, it's the newspaper. So this is the syllabus of UPSC. So it's just a simple representation of UPSC. So the core papers which we discussed, which comes both in prelims and mains, means the weightage of these papers are very huge in the civil service examination. And when you start early, it is very important, and it is highly proven that you will get a strong hold in these papers. Because if any of you have opted for Bachelor of Arts with any of these papers as their major papers, obviously they will be studying the same things, which is also important for the examination. And it eventually means that they will also be building more conceptual clarity, and it will be advantageous for them as well to build that basic understanding of that part of the syllabus, which is the most important sections of the entire syllabus. Because without understanding these papers, understanding governance would be slightly difficult, because if you don't know polity, understanding governance will be very difficult, right? And if you do not know polity at all or any of these core papers, you cannot even read the newspaper, you cannot even touch the newspaper, right? So this is one of the most important advantage of starting early, that you will be having a very less pressure because you would have already covered the major part of the syllabus, which is your core papers. Next advantage is the time advantage. This we have already discussed. Now let's say you are someone who is postponing your preparation to start only after 21, maybe after your graduation, and now you start your preparation in the age of 22. And I have already said, UPSC preparation, just for any beginner, even to start their preparation right from the very scratch, it requires minimum of 18 to 20 months. And I'm talking about 18 to 20 months is roughly about 1.5 to 2 years of preparation, which is absolutely required, which is the bare minimum. And now let's say someone is starting their preparation at 22, and by the time they actually are actually prepared, of course they are eligible to give the examination. They can give their first attempt in 22, they can give their attempt in 23 as well, they can also give in 24. But when exactly do you think that this particular aspirant will be absolutely ready, right? Of course not in their first attempt, to some extent not in their second attempt at the age of 23 as well. Because why? Maybe I believe that they will be okay with the prelims part of the syllabus, maybe they can clear prelims, but mains will be slightly difficult because the kind of understanding you need, the depth of knowledge that is required, and the practice, the amount of practice that you need to compete with your competitors who are already, let's say, who have already given 3 mains, 4 interviews, will be slightly difficult and you will fall short. And by the time it is almost 2 years, when you're properly done, you would have already exhausted 2 attempts, and that will be your third attempt where you will be giving your productive attempt. And probably, let's say, if in this attempt you give your first mains and let's say you even get the interview call, chances are still less because you are giving that first mains, and first mains itself is also like a baby step in this entire UPSC preparation, at least when you consider yourself amongst the huge competition that this examination has, right? So if you're lucky and if your preparation is really good, right, fine, at the age of 24 you can crack the examination. Maybe by 25, 26 you can become an IAS. I mean, of course not IAS to be very specific, your training starts, right? All of these things are there. But even if this does not work, or let's say you did not qualify in your interview stage as well at the age of 24, now again another year, 25, right? 25 you will be giving your attempt and the result will come in 26. So just one attempt which got missed, see where you're going to be becoming the IAS officer, right? So just by postponing your preparation to start after 21, you're actually postponing your dream to become an IAS officer to another 3 more years ahead, right? You will either become an IAS officer at the age of 25 or worst case in the 27, 28. Rather, someone who's starting their preparation at the age of 17 to 18, right? 17 to 18. Let's take the same 2 years of preparation which is absolutely required for any beginner, right? And that is the same preparation you're doing. And now the first attempt that you will give at the age of 21 will actually be your productive attempt. And even this first attempt, let's say you qualified prelims, you wrote mains, let's say you did not qualify mains. So what? It's okay. That's your first productive attempt and that was your first mains. It's fine. Like let's say you might give your second attempt as well in 22, I mean at the age of 22. So this is going to be your second mains because prelims will be easy, you will definitely do, and this will be your second mains. And interview, I'm very sure, at least after preparing for 5, 6 years, you would have developed that personality to make yourself appealing in front of the interview panel. And the chances are very high that at the age of 22, and if you're really good, because if your preparations are really out of the mark in these 3 years soon after your graduation, you can even clear the interview in the very first attempt as well. And the academy, Believers as Academy, has many students who have done that, right? And I'm talking about many students in the entire country who have been preparing like this. You can see many examples like that who have done it, and those people who have cleared the examinations at the age of 21 are those who would have already started their preparation in their graduation. So I think now you got an idea as to what is going to be and how it is going to be. Just by starting early, you can dream, or you can get into the examination of that dream post just within 25 years. 25 years you will get your posting, and yes, but here just by postponing, even at the age of 26, you will still be writing the examination, that too without any guarantee, right? So that is one important thing that you have to keep in mind. Next advantage is the skill development, because all these are the important areas of interest, especially for an aspirant to clear the UPSC exam. First, he or she should have developed the analytical thinking, should have sufficient writing skills, and should also have the minimum or the right decision making capacity, and also should have the real world awareness. And this is the reason why the examination, the preparation goes for 1.5 to 2 years, because when you constantly study those core papers for these many years along with the current affairs newspaper and all of those things, these are the qualities which develops even if you don't want it to develop. And this you would have already developed within the age of 21 just by starting early, and that is also another advantage. And this is useful even beyond UPSC as well, because now let's say students, you might think, I'm going to study all of this. Now let's say, what if I just decide that I will not even want to write the examination? It's fine, who cares? But at the end of the day, all these qualities that you will develop will eventually transform your personality. And this personality will be valuable even beyond UPSC, and that is one important thing which you have to keep in mind. Next advantage is the better attempt quality. This also we have discussed because most aspirants waste attempts in learning process, right? The example that we earlier discussed. And early starters enter with clarity and maturity right at the age of 21 or mostly in 22. And also I discussed personality growth, that is beyond the UPSC preparation. So you don't just confine yourself to the UPSC preparation that whatever I'm studying, it's going to only help me in the UPSC journey. No, absolutely not. So it is going to make you a human being who has better awareness about his surroundings, one who can clearly communicate, and also one has confidence in interviews and even in life, because now you have studied some of the important subjects, polity, you know the entire Indian polity, the constitution, right? You know the rights, you know the duties, and you know the history of India. You have studied about the economics of India, the economy of India, and you also have an update about the present science and technology. You have studied ethics as a paper, right? Now imagine the kind of personality that gets transformed, right? So in fact, if you just or let's say if I have to sum it down, put it down in a nutshell, the UPSC preparation or the UPSC examination, it's most about selecting that particular student who has a better personality, right? It is about the search for the right personality and the better personality amongst the students who can represent the government. So that is what your UPSC examination in a nutshell is. So this is also one of the important advantages. So now, how to start? That is the biggest question. How to start? Simple. First is, you have to just choose which graduation should I do, whether should I take humanities or any degree which will help me focus on my UPSC preparation. And there is no limitation that you should not take engineering or medical and all of those things. You can take it, but it depends on how you are managing your graduation subject alongside your UPSC preparation. So the first step is to select which graduation you want to do it, and after that, this is a simple breakdown what you're supposed to do actually. In the very first year, right? In the very first year, that is the year where you actually try to build basics. You have to read NCERTs. Newspaper reading is optional, right? But still you can just read it to develop your vocabulary, to develop the command on the language, especially the spoken language. Of course, I'm sure you will not be able to write anything much, but at least if you have developed the right formal language, which is required to write answers, to talk in the UPSC, that is more than sufficient. And this is the stage where you rather have to mostly focus on ensuring conceptual clarity on the papers that you are supposed to study, especially the core papers, and mostly you will be focusing or you should be focusing on NCERTs. Then the second stage is where you start answer writing, because the second stage also involves you doing a bit of the standard books as well. Now let's say you have finished the NCERT of polity class 11th and 12th. Now you can directly jump to the standard book, which is your Lakshmikant, right? Now let's say in the first year, that is what you'll be doing. In the second year, you have to make sure that you start your answer writing, align your preparation with the UPSC standards, write answer for all the PYQs of that particular concept that you have studied or that you are revising. And also note making, and here note making, once again, you have to do it in various stages. It's not that the very first notes that you make in the very start of your preparation will be the same notes you will be carrying at the end of your let's say mains day as well. Absolutely not, right? There are 4 or 5 different stages of notes making, right? That is also something that you have to work on. And then the optional subject has to be started in the second year of your graduation, because that is the time where you would have already done your core paper, and now is the time when you can focus on your optional paper and start with the mains exclusive papers as well. Next, in the last and the final year, all that you'll be doing is, right, reading the standard books, right, revising it, right, and mostly you will be devoting your time taking test series for the core papers, and also the test series for your optional subject, writing maybe essays, and also you'll be involving yourself in multiple revisions. You have to do it, and this will ensure that you're ahead of 80% of aspirants by the graduation, because doing all of this is what, in fact, even an aspirant who starts your preparation from 21 also have to do the same thing. And if the aspirant is not serious enough, this is what will happen, right? And all of these 3 things I am just talking based on just 4 hours of you spending on a regular basis. 4 hours. That is all is required if you are preparing for the civil service right from your graduation, right? 4 hours consistently, but if you can do 6 hours also, that is good, depends on your aspirant, but bare minimum is 4 hours. Upon that, whatever you do, that's your choice. In fact, that is the extra efforts that you are putting from your your side, which definitely should quantify, right? So this is the simple depiction as to how an aspirant should be preparing, right? Having said so, this will definitely ensure your head start, because it creates less stress and better retention, because I'm talking about revisions which you would have done at least once or twice, and then higher success probability and also strong backup option. Why strong backup option? Because already you have studied let's say 60-70% of the UPSC syllabus, and now the backup option with respect to other state PCS or let's say any banking examinations, if you want to write, straight away you can start writing, right? So that is also one of the important things which most of the students miss out. So what is the right mindset that is required, right? The simple mindset, right? Don't aim only for IAS, right? Build UPSC level knowledge and skills so that you can try yourself, try your luck and try your performance in any of the other examinations either conducted by UPSC or maybe the state PCS, and almost any arena of the competitive examinations you can do it. But ultimately, the question is, if someone wants to start early, how should they prepare the right way, right? Because that is also there. You're preparing according to your studying for like let's say 4 hours or 6 hours or 10 hours even with your graduation, but are you doing it the right way? That is also the question, because all of these are the part and parcel in this entire preparation, which you will get it, but doing it the right way matters a lot. So however, if those students, for anyone who is finding it difficult to understand or let's say to know what is the right way to study, because I told you, I gave you a blueprint, right? What you should be doing it in the first year, what you are supposed to do in the second year, what you'll be doing in the third year, right? But all of these three things needs checks and balances. You need to be accountable with someone so that someone is taking care of your preparation and you're accountable to them, right? That is very important in this examination. And also you have to know if you're doing it the right way, right? Because there are many ways. One is the easy way of preparing. Another one is the right way of preparing. But for civil services examination, especially UPSC civil service exam, you need the right way of preparation, not the easy way, right? You need the right way, even if it is taking an extra year, but still prepare the right way, not the easiest way. Okay, keep this thing in mind. So for that, Believers IAS Academy has crafted a course especially for the students after 12th, and here we have structured everything as a 3-year plan. And most importantly, the classes will be happening in the evening from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. right? So this makes it very easy and comfortable for most of the college going students as well. And here is where we focus on the consistency and the improvement, because ultimately, if you cannot keep accountability to yourself, we will keep accountable, we will keep you accountable, we will keep checks and balances, right? And the advantage as well is that it will not, the classes per se, it will not clash with your college timings. Plus, soon after the college, you can come down. The academy also has a free library where you can sit and study daily, right? And also we have certain things, right, where we have, certain tools, which obviously we cannot talk everything in the video, where, we will be using or utilizing all of that to ensure better discipline in this examination. Because UPSC preparation is not about dedication, right? It is not about the dedication, whatever, people say it is not about dedication. It is about having the right discipline, right? So this is what is all about for this preparation. I hope you people might have actually gotten an idea what this examination is and what you're supposed to do. And basically this is just the view as to how the course structure is properly categorized in the Believers IAS Academy. So it is the same thing what we discussed in the previous slides as to how an aspirant should do, and exactly it is the synopsis, or let's say like the synergy of the aspirant's point of view and the academy's point of view, put it in a structure which will convert as a comprehensive course for the student. So what is the ultimatum here? Ultimately, we want that the student should start early, right, and make sure that they stay consistent, and most importantly, they have to do it the right way. So in this particular video, I hope you have now gotten an idea what is the importance of preparing for the civil services examination, especially starting early, soon after your 12th. And this video is also equally applicable for those who are also pursuing their graduation right now. So maybe, let's say, if you are still in a dilemma, you have the simple way. Just you go to the Believers as IAS website and call us for a free mentorship or a free counseling session, and the representatives here will definitely help you out. Anyway, that's all for this particular video. Signing off, this is Madan Gopal. Have a wonderful day.